In episode 15, Selena Gomez's twink brother is really into this girl who specifically says that she only goes out with guys who are on the baseball team. Like, she turns down a guy who's on the football team because, no, 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 if you're not on the baseball team, I'm not going to date you. So Selena Gomez's twink brother decides, well, I'm going to try out for the baseball team, even though he has no baseball skills and absolutely would not make it on fairly. Turns out Selena Gomez's dad is the coach of the baseball team, which that seems important. But Selena Gomez also likes this boy who's on the baseball team. And so she kind of wants to get close to the baseball team. And so she's kind of into the idea that her twink brother is going to be on the baseball team because that gives her an excuse to go to the games. Anyway, so Selena Gomez's brother, twink brother, decides to use magic to cheat his way onto the team. So he tries out for pitcher, which I guess like a pitcher throws a ball and wants the person with the bat to miss the ball. I guess that's what a pitcher does. But so he uses magic to make the ball go every which way so that the person with the bat can't hit it. And once you see it on screen, it is completely transparent that this is not a natural thing. But the Muggles here don't seem to be able to figure that out. They're just like, oh, he's an amazing pitcher, and don't attribute any of it to magic. But so he makes it onto the baseball team, and then he wins his first game spectacularly because he's using this magic. And Selena Gomez goes to the game and is hitting on this other boy who's on the team. And she's like, oh, well, I'll be your good luck charm. So she ends up saying, well, you're going to win every game as long as I'm there. And then after that, Selena Gomez's dad figures it out because, like, Selena Gomez's twin brother is being quite obvious that he is cheating. And so his dad is like, you are not going to do that again. I know what you did. And you're going to play the next game without any magic. Well, obviously, since Selena Gomez's twin brother is terrible at this, he's going to fail miserably. And this is what their dad considers to be a lesson. Like, hey, you're gonna fuck up in front of everybody, and it's gonna be bad. I don't understand why he doesn't like practice or anything, because he could get at least a little bit better. Like, he lets in. Let me look at my notes. He lets in like 26 touchdowns during this game, which I guess is really, really bad for a pitcher. Like, you don't want 26 touchdowns on the other side. But um, so this raises some questions again about the statute of secrecy, which we've already brought up. Like, he's quite transparently using magic to cheat in this baseball game. But anyway, no, he doesn't get into any sort of real trouble other than his dad getting mad at him. So second game, Selena Gomez decides to skip because she wants to convince the boy she likes on the baseball team that she's his good luck charm. So she skips it. The twink brother fucks up royally, and they lose an embarrassing game. And then the boy Selena Gomez likes comes in and is like, why weren't you there? He's like, oh, I didn't realize that you wanted me to go to every game. It's like, yeah, you're my good luck charm. We'll lose if you're not there. So she planned this. She's good. But so she ends up going to the third game. And her dad is like, absolutely, twink brother, you will not use magic. And so Selena Gomez uses magic to do the same sort of shit. Like, she makes the ball stop in midair and drop so that they can't get a field goal. And like she does all these tricks. And so Selena Gomez's dad figures it out and tells her twink brother, like, hey, I understand you are not doing magic. Selena Gomez is, but you are going to reverse it to make the game fair. Because apparently he prioritizes the game being fair over wizards getting caught doing magic. I don't get it. I don't get what the rules are. Somebody needs to explain it to me because I just don't understand. But so it basically ends up being a duel of Selena Gomez and her twin brother doing magic. She makes the ball do weird stuff, and then he makes it do weird stuff to undo the stuff that she just did. And it's like really obvious from the perspective of a muggle. But eventually, they call a timeout to, like, Selena Gomez's dad calls a timeout to talk to Selena Gomez and her twin brother. And he's like, look, this is not okay. We're going to use this memory spell, which erases everyone's memory of this whole thing. Why hasn't this been mentioned before episode 13? This would be really important for them to use more often than they do. But they use the memory spell. Everybody forgets about it. And I guess everybody lives happily ever after. Whatever. But then, so Selena Gomez's twin brother ends up with the girl. And they're planning a date. He's like, yeah, you want to go out to a movie with me? She's like, well, are there any movies about cats? Because apparently, in addition to only going out with people who are on the baseball team, she only watches movies about cats, which, like, dream girl. But Selena Gomez's twin brother does not want that. So basically, he ends up like blowing her off because she's weird. She also she only dates people on the baseball team, but she doesn't seem to understand baseball. Like, she understands even less about it than I do. She's going there like not understanding the rules or the terminology or anything. But she goes to every baseball game and she's really into baseball players. She's just a dumbass, and the twin brother could have gotten away with not doing any of this shit if he had just not fallen for some stupid ass human. Never trust humans. They will only get you into trouble. Episode 16 has a whole bunch of different tangential narratives happening at the same time. It really emphasizes that life doesn't make narrative sense. Nuh-uh. Where should I start first? So Selena Gomez is working on this prank on her twink brother. So she has started writing love notes to her twink brother as if they're from someone else and a secret admirer at school, and she's been slipping them into his locker. And he's feeling really curious about, oh, who is the secret admirer that I have? So that's one of the multiple plots of the show. He's trying to figure out who the secret admirer is. Meanwhile, uh, Selena Gomez's little brother apparently goes to the same school that they go to. Pretty sure he didn't go to the same school at the start of the season because he's several years younger. Like Selena Gomez is probably like 15-ish at this point. Selena Gomez's twink brother is probably roughly 17. I think the actor was 19 at this point. And then the little brother is probably like 12. But apparently he goes to the same school that they go to, which raises questions like, what grades go to what schools here? It seems like Selena Gomez and her twink brother should be in high school, and then their little brother should be in like middle school or junior high or something. But apparently he goes to the same school they go to. Whatever. Little brother is helping out twink brother with figuring out who the secret admirer is. Also in this episode, Selena Gomez's uncle comes to visit. So reiterating the general premise of the show. Generally speaking, in wizard families, siblings will all be magical to start out. And then they have to have a wizard contest once they reach an unspecified age when they're ready. They'll have a contest to decide which one's the best wizard, and only one of them can continue going on to be a wizard in adulthood. So Selena Gomez's uncle ended up getting the magical powers of the family, and her dad is now a muggle. So her uncle comes and visits, and he brings them presents. He's a cool uncle, and so he brings them presents. He brings Selena Gomez a telescope that tells you people's feelings. So like you can look through this telescope, and even if somebody is like putting on a poker face, you can tell, oh, that person's happy, that person's sad, that person's angry, whatever. And then he gives Selena Gomez's little brother, I don't know, he blows bubbles, and they they answer questions. So like you can say they call them truth bubbles or something. So you ask the bubble a question like, oh, am I going to die at age 23? And the bubble would, why is that the first thing that came to my mind? But the bubble goes up and it's like, no, you are not going to die at age 23. So you can ask it any question. Apparently it can only answer yes, no, or I don't know. But those are the gifts that the uncle gives Selena Gomez and her little brother. He gives Selena Gomez's twink brother opera gum. So it's gum that you chew, and then when you chew it, you sing opera. It's like, one of these things is not like the others. Like, that is a way shittier gift than the other two. Does he hate Selena Gomez's twink brother? Apparently. But apparently the twink brother is okay with that gift and is like, this is pretty cool. Whatever. Where else is this all over the place plot going to be? Selena Gomez's mom is generally unhappy when her kids do magic really at all, other than in the lair. But apparently she doesn't care if Selena Gomez's uncle does, because, I don't know, it doesn't make sense. He can just go around doing magic whenever he wants. And she doesn't object. She doesn't object to having Selena Gomez like go out and hang out with him for the day. Whatever, anything goes when your uncle's here. He spoils Selena Gomez, and she wants to hang out with him all the time. Her dad asks her to watch a basketball game with him, and she's like, "No, I'm not going to watch basketball." But then her uncle says, "Hey, you want to go with me to the basketball game and sit in the wizard box?" And there's this wizard box that's like, I guess it's a box inside the scoreboard where the wizards sit and don't do anything particularly magical. They just sit and watch the game in the wizard box. It doesn't make sense to me what's special about this, but she's really, really into going to the wizard box to watch the basketball game with her uncle, but won't watch it on TV with her dad. Just an example of how much she wants to hang out with her uncle and not her dad. So she decides that she wants her uncle to be her wizard teacher instead of her dad, which kind of offends her dad. And her uncle's kind of incompetent as a teacher. So he's always pulling pranks and stuff. He ends up getting her a package of sea chimps, which I guess sea monkeys are trademarked because apparently Disney can't call them sea monkeys. They have to call them sea chimps. But basically, it fills up the whole room with sea chimps and makes them into sea chimps, Selena Gomez and her uncle. And so they have this flooded lair where they are sea chimps sitting around floating in the room. So basically, Selena Gomez's dad ends up fixing the problem. And Selena Gomez's dad taught them a spell where they can go 10 feet. They can like teleport 10 feet at a time, which they're making fun of him at the beginning of the episode for how stupid that is as a spell. But it ends up working in the end because the door to the lair is blocked by the pressure of the water. And so they have to teleport inside to rescue everybody and drain the lair of all the water and save the sea chimps. But That's basically the episode. It's complete chaos. It makes no narrative sense. But I guess lesson learned: pay attention to your dad, not your uncle. Also, it turns out in this episode that it's revealed that um, Selena Gomez's dad actually won the wizard contest versus his uncle and his aunt, or Selena Gomez's uncle and aunt. But he voluntarily chose not to be a wizard so that he could marry Selena Gomez's mom, because apparently there's a rule where you can't marry a muggle if you're a wizard. So he gives away his wizarddom to marry Selena Gomez's mom. So that's a sweet little nugget of information there. But yeah, it's a chaotic episode that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. In episode 17, we find out that the wizard schooling system allows them to be homeschooled, but they have to send their exams to Hogwarts to be graded. So they send in their exam, and then Professor Dumbledore has to go over it and grade it, and they send it back by wizard mail. Well, they send it to the kids, not to the parents, which is Selena Gomez sees as a loophole. So Selena Gomez's twink brother gets A's, obviously. Selena Gomez's little brother gets like a C, and he sees it as a huge victory. Yay, I'm average. Well, Selena Gomez completely fails. She just does terribly. And so instead of like telling her parents about this, and she's legally required apparently to get her parents to sign off on the terrible report card, she decides to hide it from her parents. Which, how does she think she's going to hide it? Her twink brother and her little brother got their report cards, so their parents probably should know, because like twink brother's gonna be like, "Hey, mom and dad, look how well I did," and little brother's gonna be like, "Hey, mom and dad, look how average I am." But apparently, she thinks that she can hide it, so she tries everything. She tries shredding it, she tries burning it, she tries throwing it away. Every time the report card comes back by magic. So at some point in the episode, the report card ends up materializing inside the magazine that her mom is reading. So her parents get a hold of the report card, and so instead of like dealing with this in a reasonable way, Selena Gomez uses a spell to turn her parents into guinea pigs so that they can't read the magic report card. So this is obviously an incredibly stupid idea, and she's like, "Oh shit, my parents are now guinea pigs. What am I going to do about this?" So before she can figure out the ultimate way to fix the whole problem, she just like keeps the guinea pigs hanging out in their house. Well, Selena Gomez's little brother and her twink brother are getting into all sorts of mischief. They're like playing around with the guinea pigs. So they have this contest that's like, which one can run around in a ball better? Is it the Twink's little or Selena Gomez's little brother, or is it the guinea pig? So basically, the guinea pigs go missing, and and they end up eventually in Selena Gomez's closet. Well, Professor Dumbledore finds out that the parents never got the report card because she has to get it signed in return. He comes and he shows up to their house to be like, "Hey, Selena Gomez hasn't returned her signed report card." So what she ends up doing is she ends up turning him into a guinea pig, like turning Professor Dumbledore into a guinea pig in order to get away with getting an F. So eventually he turns back into a human, and he's planning to take away Selena Gomez's powers. Well, Selena Gomez's twink brother actually saves the day for her, because apparently the punishment for violating the Student Wizard Code of Conduct, which has not been mentioned before now and probably should have been mentioned because it's an important thing for them in this universe. But she violated the Student Wizard Code of Conduct, so Professor Dumbledore is going to take away her powers. But her twink brother gives this speech about like, please, please don't take away my sister's powers. Even if it's for nothing else, she makes me better. Every time she messes something up, I have to come up with a solution to fix her problem, and it makes me a better wizard. It's like, aw, he loves his sister. But this speech basically convinces Professor Dumbledore to make it so that Selena Gomez has no consequences for her terrible actions. So no lessons learned. Everything's fine. Great.